Hello and welcome to Creative Momentum with Meg Dunley. I'm Meg Dunley. This is part of the first season of my podcast. It's called the Shadow Season. All of the episodes here were recorded while I was doing a writing residency at Château d'Orquevaux in France. Today's episode is with Jon Emm. He's a writer from the United States, currently living in Chicago. Jon's been writing short stories for years and has made the transition to screenwriting, working on screenplays and TV pilots. During our conversation, he shares his creative process, which he describes as all over the place, and how he often discovers that his characters are actually aspects of himself. He talks about where he gets his inspiration and opens up about the challenges of the creative journey and how persistence is needed when we want to quit, when things get difficult. He also talks about the importance of just simply starting. All of these are valuable reminders for anyone on a creative pathway. I really hope you enjoy this episode. I love talking with Jon and getting to know him at Château d'Orquevaux. Enjoy.
Hey.
Hi, Jon.
Hi.
Let's just start with introducing yourself with your name and where you're from.
Sure. My name is Jon Emm. I'm from the United States, presently living in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And tell me, what do you do creatively?
I am a writer. I wrote short stories for years. I am presently writing screenplays. That's what I'm doing right now. I just recently got trained in screenplays and pilots, TV pilots. I've written short stories for a number of years, and I've officially made that change now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about your creative process?
My creative process is a bit all over the place. Sometimes I start with an idea that I think would make a great idea for a story. Mm-hmm. Other times I start from the character perspective, that I can think of characters or a relationship that I think would be really wonderful to explore. Presently, I'm working on a screenplay that is, it's more than anything else, it's about a relationship between two men. Mm-hmm. One is a little bit off, and the other is a kind of a big shot. Mm-hmm. At least he thinks he is. Mm-hmm. Sort of in the same vein as Lenny and George from Of Mice and Men.
Oh, right.
That story moved me a lot, and I find myself I find those two characters that kind of match up. They're a really unlikely pair. Mm-hmm. I find that a lot, and I've come to realize that that's probably the two characters that are inside of me.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Who or what or where do you get your creative inspiration from?
I can honestly say I was very influenced by Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone series that influenced me greatly from the time I was a small child. Too young to be, way too young to be watching that. And it kind of left an indelible scar on me. But in that scar, I have grown accustomed to writing that sort of thing. It's taken me a while to not write like that, to be honest. All my short stories are really twisted like that. This particular story that I'm working on here at Château d'Orquevaux is not in that vein. But I did get a lot of inspiration from that. I get a lot of inspiration from nature and a lot from humans. I've been a bartender for a number of years, for over 25 years. And there's not a story I write that doesn't have a bar in it.
Yeah, that's actually such an interesting thought that, having a job like that as a writer provides you with so much.
It does. And I never know where it's going to come out, but it does.
Because you're with people all the time. Have you been trying to consciously make a decision to write away from the kind of Twilight Zone kind of?
Yes, I have. I've softened a lot as I've aged. I used to have quite a dark side, and a lot of a lot of my writing I used to do as therapy, and I don't dwell there anymore. Now I just roll with things a lot easier, and it's kind of been a little bit confusing. It's been a rough road to navigate, to move away from a particular style to a new style. But I'm finding great joy in this new style. Yeah.
I do find, from the interviews, the conversations I've had with a lot of writers and artists, that people are quite drawn for inspiration from nature. I think nature has a lot to teach us. Can you please tell me a little bit about your creative routine, here or at home, or both?
Yes. If I had, in my ideal world, my routine would be like this. I would get up and I would go do something that would take me in the range of an hour or so, whether it's like right now, I live in Chicago and I live by the lake, and we get up in the morning and we go down and we swim in the lake, or I walk on the beach. To take about an hour or so to do that, come back to have my coffee and then sit, and I would like to write until 1 or maybe 2, and then pack it in and really pat myself on the back and carry on with the rest of my day, if I had a perfect world. But as I've said, I've been tending bar for years now, and it tends to take me into the evening a little bit later than I would like, and so early mornings are a little bit more difficult. So I have that little bit of a conflict there. But I hope to not have to tend to bar anymore. That would be really great, because this routine that routine is really what I want to do. That's what I'm aspiring to do. Plus, that's the kind of routine that Diane wants to do too. And so if I can get up and she can go paint and I can go write, that would be great. I also, something that has changed is I realize I need someplace else to go. If I try to write at home, for one thing, it's really isolating. I mean, I can be easily distracted by going to a coffee shop and like hearing somebody else and get a little perturbed. But I find that I'm also perturbed when I'm all by myself. At least I have someone to blame for it when I'm in a coffee shop. So I really do want to find a different place that I can go, and it doesn't have to be public. It just needs to be different from my surroundings that I live in all the time.
I was going to touch on the fact that your partner is also a creative, which I think is, a lot of people do ask me about, what would it, talk about how if only their partner was also creative, it would make things so much easier. And, having spent nearly 3 weeks with you and Diane, I can see there's this beautiful routine that you both have, and it looks like an incredibly supportive, creative relationship that you have. And just how do you find you feed off each other with that creativity?
Well, I am huge. We are very, very supportive of each other. She has given me a lot of opportunities where I'm to go visit her. She doesn't work. She's an artist for a living. I've not been an artist for a living, and so when I go to visit her, it's a really wonderful experience to be able to do that. But we also realize that we're both capable of working together. And during COVID, we created a children's book together, and that was True Colors. And it was a challenge. She said, if you write a children's book, I'll illustrate it. So I did it, and she illustrated it, and it was really wonderful. And a really interesting thing happened in that process too, was that when it was all done, and I wrote it, she went, this, and then she painted it, and I would go, back and forth until we got exactly what we want. Then we looked it up and realized that our book was almost 2 times too long from the word count of what it's supposed to be. So then when I went back through, we looked at it, and I said, well, I don't have to say any of this anymore because your picture says it. So I got to remove all that, and then we don't have to say any of this anymore because the picture shows it again and again and again. When we recounted after one try, it was 9 words under what the word count is supposed to be, the max.
Fabulous.
And realized that the reason that she painted what she painted was because I wrote what I wrote. Whereas if I had just written what we edited it down to, she may not have come up with those pictures. So it really worked out. That was when I just went, all right, together we have something very interesting.
Yeah. You got that creative side of yourselves as well as your beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
Tell me, Jon, if you were to have a conversation with someone who's early on in their creative journey, what pearl or pearls of wisdom would you want to pass on to them?
I would probably more than anything say that there's only one person that you truly need to listen to. You take as many classes as you can, learn as many as things as you can from so many different sources. Just learn all that you can learn, so that those rules that you're going to come up against are yours to break, as long as you know you're breaking them, as long as you know why you're breaking them, and you're not breaking them for the purpose of breaking a rule. And all the answers that you actually want they're right here. Like I mean that in every aspect of your life. If you put your hand right here when you have a tough question, you know the answer. It's right there. We've been through it already before. Like I totally believe we have. And you might not want to hear it. You might not answer it even when you put your hand here and go, all right, I heard you. I'm still not doing that. Okay, well then at least you know, because you do know. And to just listen to yourself, take it easy. No one's pushing you. No one's you're your own worst enemy always. Just let your judge go away. Stop judging yourself so harshly and let yourself be.
Thank you so much, Jon.
You're welcome.
It's been beautiful.
Thank you for joining me for this episode. I really hope that you got some wisdom from him during this episode. I love his honesty about the creative process and that it's messy. He has a lovely, quiet way of talking about this. And you know, his messages about persistence and who we need to listen to ourselves are really important messages for all of us, whether we're writers, whether we're artists, or just creating for ourselves. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I would love you to like, share, subscribe, follow. You can find all of the details about Jon in the show notes, about where to find him, and of course to find his book called True Colours that he created with his partner Diane Rakosi, who I recorded in an earlier episode. I'll put the link to that one as well in the show notes. And you can find the link to the book. It's a beautiful picture book about learning what our colours are. Until next week, I hope you keep building your own creative momentum. You've been listening to Meg Dunley. Thanks for listening.